If you thought about starting up your very own cookie business, then I'm making this video just for you. It contains some of the things I really wish I had known when I started out so that you can avoid the common challenges and mistakes that hold people back and get to cookie business success much quicker and easier than I did. It all starts with, honestly, tracking your costs and knowing your numbers. And I was super afraid of this when I was starting my cookie business. It's actually something that totally set me back because I didn't know what my numbers were. I didn't know how much money I was actually spending versus how much I was making. And if you're like me and you want to be creative, you don't want to have to pay attention to the numbers, I'm telling you, do this right from the beginning. Start tracking your costs. Start tracking the numbers because you're going to be so grateful that you did. It was probably about a year into my cookie business and my husband came to me and he said, "Honey, you're not making any money." I was like, "What do you mean? Like these people, invoices are paid. Like I've got orders coming in. What do you mean I'm not making any money?" And he showed me the numbers and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm spending way too much on cookie cutters and I'm spending way too much on other things and supplies and things because it's easy to get carried away with all the really cool and fun and pretty and sparkly things that you can get to do cookies with." But I had to tone it back a little bit. I really decided that I wanted to make this business profitable and I wanted to do something that I loved, which was cookies. So I was like, well, I'm going to do it. I have to look at the numbers. So now I look at numbers. If not every few days, I take a look at the numbers at least once a week so I know how much I'm spending versus how much money is actually coming in. And I only buy cookie cutters now when I can justify them for a new order. So I have a pretty big library now, and you will as you go along. You're gonna get a big library of cookie cutters and stencils and all of that fun equipment. But if you can justify them and actually have them paid for because of an order coming in, then that is definitely the way to do it. Then, like kills two birds with one stone. You get, new cutters and new stencils and new fun stuff, but then they're paid for because of an order that you're doing. When you're tracking costs, don't forget to track your time too. Time is money. So when I was first starting out, I'm normally like being pretty efficient with my time, but when I started, my husband, when he was telling me and we were going over the numbers, he's like, "Well, how much time are you actually spending on all this, right?" And when you're doing cookies, part of it is I love to do it because it makes me feel good and I love to slow down and just enjoy it, which is great. But at the same time, I had to make sure and be aware of how much time I was spending because time really does equal money when you're running a business too. So make sure that you are tracking your time as well as tracking all of your numbers and your costs. If anything, it's just going to make you more aware of how much time you're spending per cookie, or how much time you're spending mixing icing, how much time you're spending, on the admin side and preparing orders and communicating with customers. I found that when I was just even aware of the amount of time I was spending, then I was able to tailor my schedule to meet the needs of what the business needed, but then also know that I could spend time that I wanted on cookies and it wasn't going to negatively affect my business. I'm going to tell you one thing that really I wish that I'd known, and not only known, but I wish I'd really implemented a whole lot sooner in my business. And that is guarding my schedule so that I had time to sleep, like literally sleep. So when I started my business, my kids were a lot younger. I had toddlers still. My youngest son had some medical needs that were pretty intense at the time. And I lost a lot of sleep. But I loved doing cookies and I lost some sleep. I was okay with it for a little while, but it really did start to wear on me and it affected my ability to run my cookie business. So I protect my time so much more now. I protect my calendar. I actually block time out to make sure that I can get stuff done with cookies and the business, but then also have time to rest and to sleep because I have actually found that when I stop at a certain time of night, then allow myself to rest, I'm so much more productive the next day and I'm happier and it's just so much better. So I really wish that I'd implemented that a lot sooner. And it's a thing in this whole cookie world and you'll find it and kind of see it as you practice more and learn more about this whole cookie kind of niche in this industry is a lot of people lose way too much sleep and it negatively, over the long term, it will negatively affect you. So do your best to protect your sleep time. It's going to help you so much. Hey, you are so amazing. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are ready and wanting to amaze your friends and family with amazing looking cookies that taste even better, then you're in the right place, because this is the channel where deliciousness meets joy, and we are all about having fun with cookies. We are gonna show you how to make cookies that look impressive, but are also really easy to make too. So please do me a favor, like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, don't miss a new episode. And I know you know friends and family that probably love cookies as much as you do, so share this with them too. It really helps out. I can't thank you again enough for watching this video. Let's get back to it. Okay, I have to tell you about a couple of cookier friends of mine who have struggled with this so much, and they've asked me questions about it, and I tell them the same thing all the time. When you start doing cookies, you're gonna get people who ask you to do 1 dozen. You need a minimum order. And the reason is because it takes time to come up with a number of designs per dozen cookies. And I have seen so many cookiers, and I've heard the horror stories, and I have heard the complaints about cookiers spending so much time on 1 dozen cookies. You guys, do not include more than maybe 1 or 2 designs per 1 dozen order. If you really feel like, hey, I wanna do just this 1 dozen for somebody, okay, fine. But do not go beyond 1 or 2 designs per that dozen. You're gonna kill yourself doing it, and it is not worth the money when it comes to your business. If it's something that you're doing just for fun, hey, I totally get that. But if you are doing a 1 dozen order, you should not be including 5 or 6 different designs, or it's gonna kill you. So I know it's easy to get carried away with all the pretty designs that you want to make, and you see this vision, or you're like, no, I really want to include this for the customer. You got to take into account how much they're paying for the order, what your time is worth, and what your sanity is worth. You have to have time to rest, and I want you to enjoy doing this whole cookie thing. And I have just seen so many times where people doing a 1 dozen order, they're like, it just isn't worth it. And, especially if they're trying to fit in so many designs into 1 dozen. So two things with this. Have a minimum order. I think I started with like a 2 dozen minimum order. Now it's more like 3 dozen. Like, for me to really get into doing a set of cookies, they have to be ordering at least 3 dozen. And then I can justify doing, 5 to 6 different designs because they're doing 3 dozen cookies. But just, man, if you're gonna do a 1 dozen, make it easier on yourself. Don't do too many designs in 1 dozen. Hey, if you've ever wondered if cooking could turn into a moneymaker for you, I'm here to tell you 2 things. Number 1, yes, it absolutely can. And number 2, you need some help to get it right. When it comes to starting and running a successful home bakery business, it just makes sense to do it right from the very start. You're gonna save yourself loads of time, you're gonna save yourself a ton of frustration, and even worry about your business. My journey of cookies really, truly saved my sanity. I was able to find myself during some major chaos in my life at the time. I regained some peace, and I loved to do it. And I want to help others just like me to build the life and business that they dream of. I'm a busy mom. I have a need to feel fulfilled, and my guess is that you do too. I'm here to tell you it's possible to turn your cookies into cash for your next date night, your next family vacation, or even your next tuition payment or car payment. It's called Dough Makers, and inside, I'm giving you the sweet secrets to making your little cookie hobby and turning it into a seriously profitable 5-figure business, even if you live in a small house, a small town, and you barely know what Instagram is. If this sounds like the opportunity that you've been waiting for, click the link in the description below. Learn more about Dough Makers Business Academy right now. I'm so excited to see you on the inside. Let's make some dough together.